Cold calling has been around for 100 years, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon because it works. It's effective. Like any other kind of prospecting method, there's a couple of things you really have to focus on. Number one is you have to get to that mastery level understanding in the technique as fast as you possibly can. Now, you can achieve this within a couple of weeks. It's cold calling. You're not trying to land somebody on Mars. So you get the mastery in that script as fast as you possibly can. Number two, you want to make this a sustainable effort, like any other kind of prospecting. I don't care if you could do it really well Friday afternoon for 2 hours. What I'm looking for is your ability to make this a core method in your way to generate leads that you're committed to. And you're doing it 30 or 45 minutes every day or every other day or whatever that interval is for you. And number three, it needs to be supported not just by your enthusiasm and your energy level, but by your money. There's a lot of great cold calling platforms out there. How are you identifying the people you're calling is just as important as what you're going to say to them when you actually make the phone call. Take some time, do some research. There's a handful of great platforms in the market right now. If you need some help selecting that, get on my calendar and I'll walk you through it. So now let's talk about basic dialogue. The dialogue is going to be designed around the purpose for the call. The more interesting and the more dynamic the reason the call, the higher the likelihood is you're going to spark some sort of interest and this person's going to want to get into a conversation with you. Here's some simple recommended dialogues within a few different scenarios. So let's say you've got a great source that identifies for sale by owners and expired listings. Great opportunity to make a phone call. But of course you realize you're probably not the only person making this call, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to get the business. If you're persistent, you will get the business. If I'm calling a for sale by owner and they answer the phone, I'm going to say this. Hi, I'm Don with XYZ Realty. I noticed your home was recently on the market and it's no longer on the market. Are you still interested in selling your home? Are you still interested in selling your property? Now, if they don't answer the phone, then leave that as a voicemail for goodness sakes and make sure your telephone number is slow and clear so that they can call you back. Now, are they going to pick up the phone? Maybe yes, maybe no. That's the joy of cold calling. We don't know because we're going to make 100 or 200 calls and we're going to get a hit or not a hit, hit or not a hit. Simple dialogue. Hi, my name is Don with XYZ Realty. I know that your home was available and it's no longer available or on the MLS. Are you still interested in selling your property? Are you still interested in selling your property? At which point they're going to say yes or no, or they're going to say, I just relisted it with my current agent, or they said, well, we are not listing it right now, and I'm not going to list my property. Well, that really wasn't the question, and I'll even say that. I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't calling about your listing. I was curious, is your home still available for sale? Still available for sale. And they might say, well, have you got a buyer? Because they're already getting frustrated because a few other realtors have called them and, they didn't actually have a buyer. Now, I may or may not have a buyer, but that's not really the point because I don't know if I brought a buyer, are you going to pay me? Like, why would I just show up for free? So you're going to ask the question in the dialogue. And so, hi, I'm Don with XYZ Realty. I noticed that your home recently expired. Are you still interested in selling your home? At which point the person probably says, well, let's say, yes, I am interested in possibly doing that. But I don't want to list it, and I don't want to list it, and I don't want to pay commission. At which point I'm going to say, okay, I get it, I understand. If I were to bring you a buyer that met all your needs, then would you be willing to pay me a commission, right? So if they're not even willing to give up a buy-side commission, if they're that rigid in their thinking that they're not quite there yet, then why would you try to go after the listing? It ain't gonna happen. So first break down that first barrier. If I had a buyer, would you pay me a commission? And they'll say, well, do you have a buyer? I'll say, well, I work with buyers in your price range and in your neighborhood, and I'm very familiar with a variety of people that are looking in your neighborhood. Well, do you have a buyer specifically? Now, if I don't have a buyer, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say, I work with a bunch of buyers, but I don't have any buyers specifically looking for your property because, quite honestly, I've not seen your property. And I'm not going to recommend your property to a buyer if I've not seen it myself. right? So this is just basic common sense, So why would I talk about your property with someone else, one of my prized, beloved buyers? Why would I talk about your property with them? And I haven't seen the property, right? So at this point, there could be an objection, and they might say something like, well, if you're an expert in the area, how come you haven't seen my property? How come you don't know? Which you could say this, the point at which I had someone interested in your neighborhood, your property was not in alignment with the market, and they didn't want to see it. Now, if that really happened, for gosh sakes, say it. Let them know. Your property was not in alignment, so we were unable to show it. Great. Okay. Would it be okay if I came by and took a look at your home? I just need 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. I want to come in and take a look at your home. I don't feel comfortable talking about your home with somebody else unless I myself have seen it. Are you available Saturday or Friday, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? Set the appointment. Let me tell you what, if you physically get into that property, you're 50% of the way there to actually getting a listing, even though that wasn't necessarily the intent. Okay, recap. I'm calling expired listings. Hi, this is Don with XYZ Realty. I'm curious, is your home still available for sale? I noticed that it expired in the MLS. And it's either yes or no. If my home is not available, if they go in that direction, great. I do have buyers that I work with in your area. If you get to the point where you think you want to sell your property, please, I would love to talk to you again. Okay? So if they're just so turned off, they just don't want to list it, or if you get to that point, you can say, oh, I'm sorry. When you were thinking about selling your property originally, has that situation changed, right? So this is called, let's talk about your first love, right? Like back in the beginning, way back in the beginning when you were going to sell your home, what were your thoughts? What were you thinking about? Well, we were going to sell the house. We're going to move to Florida, closer to the grandkids, buy a condo. So as a caller, you're trying to understand that story a little bit and say, oh, okay, so do you not want to move to Florida? I mean, you're going to blow off the grandkids? All of these are legitimate concepts that you kind of need to get your mind around. Your goal in making these cold calls is to set the appointment and get in this house. Hi, I'm Don with XYZ Realty. I was just curious, is your home still available? I know that it expired in the MLS. Well, yeah, it's available, but we don't want to pay any commission. We don't want to pay commission. We're going to probably try to do for sale by owner. I'm like, great. I don't think that's a bad idea. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Some people have success, a lot of people don't, but maybe you will. All that aside, would it be okay if I came and took a look at your house? So when I do talk to buyers, I'm able to speak in an informed way that I can share with my buyers some of the better things about your property. Could I come by at 2? Could I come by at 3? Is Saturday better than Sunday? Blah, blah, blah. Set the appointment. Expireds and for sale by owners work very, very similarly. If somebody has no willingness to pay you a buy-side commission, then you don't really have much of a hope to get that list side commission. But the goal here is to set the appointment and get inside the property and be able to advance the conversation at that time. Okay, the next scenario that I want you to practice and get your mind around is this. I want you to do something that I call the town crier method, and that is you're making a cold call into a specific location and you're delivering information. You're spreading the gospel. What's the good news? What's the good news? The town crier method is really simple. So what are some of the better reasons to call somebody in a geographical area? The better the reason that you have, the more likelihood you're going to entice somebody to listen to you. My favorite is cold calling around a brand new listing. That listing isn't necessarily mine. Be careful. But you can definitely cold call around somebody else's brand new listing. You're not going to tell them that you're the listing agent because you're not, and that's unethical. But what you're going to say is something like this. Hi, this is Don with XYZ Realty. I hate to bother you, but I just wanted to let you know your neighbors put their home on the market at 123 Main Street. Do you know anyone who might be interested in the property? How sweet is that, right? How sweet. Simple, direct. Oh, the neighbors put the home on the market. Yes, they did. Do you have anyone interested in possibly wanting to see that property? A friend, a family member, or maybe a coworker or someone that might be interested in living in your neighborhood. You can pick your own neighbor. Why is this so effective? It's effective because I teach my listing agents to do this before they put the sign in the front yard. But most of the other agents on the planet don't bother. They don't bother. They're just going to take the listing and put it in the MLS, and a buyer's agent's going to sell the property, and they're off to the races. Horrible. What you need to do is capitalize on the fact that most listing agents are not capitalizing on this important information that's happening 50, 60, or 100 houses around where they plan a sign. Again, hi, this is Don with XYZ Realty. I hate to bother you, but were you aware your neighbors put their home on the market at 123 Main Street? Do you know anyone who might be interested in the property? Okay, it's either going to be a yes or a no. Or if it's no, they're like, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Then I'm going to say this. Okay, when the property sells, it's going to affect the value of your house. Would you want me to keep you informed? When it sells, would you want the details on that? Pretty easy thing to say. At which point they're going to say, oh, no. Oh, really? Okay, because, property values, your value is going to be affected by what happens. When it sells, I can send you a text or drop you an email to give you the information. Which is better? Do you want me to text it to you or send you an email? What did you do there? You got a first name, you got an email and or a telephone number, and you have a physical address, because hopefully the platform that you're identifying this person in gives you the physical address. You have a ton of information. And you have a live person that you're talking to who owns real estate. What's going to happen when the other property sells? For gosh sakes, follow up with another phone call. Now, there's a lot of other ways that this call can go. Hi, this is Don with XYZ Realty. Hate to bother you. Just want to let you know that your neighbors put their home on the market at 123 Main Street. Do you know anyone who's interested in the property? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. Great. I'd love to be able to share the information with them. I can send you a link, and then maybe, or you can get them on the phone number. Now, all you have to do at that point is just close on the information. How do I transmit the information to the person on the phone so that they can get it to their next party? Okay, they're probably not going to give you their contact information, but you're going to send it to party A so that they can send it to party B. But now you've got every right to send the information to party A and follow up with a phone call. Did you get the information on the property that I sent you? Did you forward it to your friend? Did you have a conversation about, okay, all sorts of different things that can happen on the second phone call. Okay, let's say this works. Hi, this is Don with XYZ Real Estate. Hate to bother you. Just want to let you know that your neighbors put their home on the market, 123 Main Street. Do you know anyone interested in possibly wanting to buy that house? At which point they say, no, I'm not interested. Okay, when the home sells, would you want me to contact you and give you the information, the details on the sale? It will affect the value of your house. It's a comp. No, I don't care about that. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Had you considered selling your property? No, thanks. Now, maybe they say yes or no, but the goal here is you're in the conversation. You're in a yes and a no and a yes and a no and a yes and a no. You're hunting and pecking and hunting and pecking until you spark some interest where you can engage in a conversation. Got it? Hi, this is Don with XYZ Realty. 123 Maple Street, just went on the market. It's your neighbor. They're going to sell their home. And I was curious, do you know anybody, a friend, a family member, or maybe a coworker who might be interested in moving into this neighborhood? Give it a shot. It's simple. Stick to simple. Stick to simple.